Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Walsh and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar this afternoon. It's our first webinar of 2014, so thank you everyone for being here. Today's webinar is on the online SLIPs program and referral tracking in BNI Connect. One of the great things that happened about a year and a couple of months ago in BNI Connect is it gave us the ability to pass slips anytime we want to, 24/7, 365, here through BNI Connect. And there's a number of great reasons for doing so. One of those reasons is we can now track this information better than ever before as a member. So normally when we pass a slip in the meeting, once we hand that slip over to the vice president, it's pretty much gone at that point. We don't see it again. Now through BNI Connect, you get to retain a copy of every slip that you turn in. You can always go back and review your history. Of course, this information is only available, though, if you enter it online. Aside from that, it also helps to speed up the referral process through notifying your referral partner about the referrals, and it also gives you the ability to track your referrals going forward. So we're going to go through all of the online slips program today and show you some of the ins and outs of how this works. A couple of housekeeping things in regards to the webinar. This webinar is live, so if you do have questions as we're going through, please feel free to ask them. The best way to do that is through the questions comments panel by typing in a question into that space within GoToWebinar. It does have the ability for need to open up your microphone if you are dialed in via telephone or you have a computer that has a microphone. If you raise your hand, I can open up your microphone and you can ask your question that way as well, though I usually find typing in the questions is a little bit easier. This webinar is being recorded. We do record all of the webinars as long as technology cooperates. We put them all up in two places. The first place is on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, this is our YouTube site. And we have a ton of recorded content up here. Most of them are either educational moment videos that are 3 to 5 minutes long, and they're recorded webinars for all the different topics. So you can go through and view any of these recording webinars. There's also some special messages from Dr. Meisner and other BNI Connect related videos up here. You'll also be able to go to our support site, which you can get to. If you click on this little question mark here in BNI Connect, that will take you over to our support site. You'll see our list of upcoming webinars, but also in the chapter training and documentation section, you'll see a section for recorded webinars where you'll see them in chronological order. And Brian had a question. He says, just want to make sure that my phone is muted. Do I need to press anything, or is it automatic? By default on the webinars, everybody starts out muted, but if you do have a question, just either drop a question in here saying, open my microphone, or there's an opportunity to, I think, raise your hand in the software, and I can open up your microphone that way as well. So hope that helps, Brian. Excellent. All right, so as I said, you can get the recorded webinars as well as a ton of other documentation through the support site. Again, click on the question mark in BNI Connect or go to support.bniconnect.com. But let's take a look at the online slips, and we're going to go through the process of submitting slips and what it does and all the different ins and outs of that. So this is your home screen. So when you first log into BNI Connect, you enter your username and password. This is what you'll see. And you'll notice the screen is broken into a couple of different sections here. Now the top section here is the My BNI Business. And the My BNI Business, this is your official statistics in BNI. So on a weekly basis, whether or not you're using the online slips, so if you've just been turning in paper, these will still show up. These are when your vice president on a weekly basis submits the POMS report, these numbers are updated. Again, only when your vice president submits the POMS report will these numbers be updated. And it's both for the last 12 months of your membership and your lifetime in BNI. The left-hand section has shortcut menus. As you go through BNI Connect and get used to running different reports, you can actually make shortcuts to them using the chapter shortcuts. And the My Network shortcut has a lot of the social media components. Now the bottom section has to do with all of the different slips, basically, and the things surrounding the slips in BNI Connect. In order to submit a slip, you would click on one of these submit buttons for the different types of slips. Tracking your referrals received online is for referrals that you've received through BNI Connect. And the review my slips are to go back and look at the slips that you have submitted on a weekly basis. Finally, you have a review received referrals report and a print your weekly slips so that you can print out, if you'd like to, on paper, the weekly referral slips that you've handed in online and be included for the door prize. But we'll get to that in a minute. So let's take a look at the first type of slip that you can enter. And the first one on the list here is the Submit Thank You for Closed Business Slips. So if I click on this link here, what this will do is open up a new slip. And this is very familiar to the green pieces of paper that we submit at a chapter meeting. You can see that it allows us to select somebody from the chapter. So we just click this drop down. This will show you all of the active members in your chapter. So you just need to pick somebody from the list. So let's say I have a referral for, let's see, Elizabeth Berman. She's actually the director of the local Chamber of Commerce. That's a member in my chapter. And I have a referral in the amount of $250, a thank you in the amount of $250. And this was for repeat business. It was an inside referral. And Chamber computer support. Now the great thing is with the thank you for closed business that you can put whatever comments you would like in here. And these comments will remain private to you and only you. So nobody else can see these comments. So if you'd like to put a client name in here or additional information about the transaction, you can do that and it will remain private. The only thing that the vice president or anybody else in the system will see is the amounts and who generated the business. Now you have a couple options at the bottom. You can click Save and New. If you are going through, let's say, your QuickBooks and you're just putting in all your thank you for closed business for the whole month, you can go ahead and click Save and New, and it'll open up a new slip for you, and you can input that next slip right away. Clicking Submit will just turn in this one slip, and then it will bring you back to your home screen. Or you can close this to cancel it and start all over again. I'm going to click Save and New. Now the other thing that I'd like to point out on the Thank You for Closed Business slip is that in this drop-down, at the bottom of the list, you'll see two people that aren't necessarily members of your chapter. The first of which is BNI, and the second of which is Visitor. So as we know, one of the great things about BNI is that if somebody leaves your chapter, they may still be producing income for your business through past referrals. So the way to thank past members is through the BNI line. So I would choose BNI if I have a past member that I'd like to thank for closed business. Visitor, obviously, is, let's say that a visitor comes in and they decide to use your services, or a visitor that you met at a BNI meeting eventually becomes a client. You could also thank visitors for thank you for closed business. And finally, you have a third option here, and that is Search Cross Chapter. And if you click on Search Cross Chapter, what this allows you to do is to search your region for other members, again, within your region that you'd like to thank for closed business. So, for example, there's a member in another chapter that has generated business for me. His name's Dave Cordero. I can never remember whether in the system it's David or Dave, so I'm just going to type the first couple of letters of his name. And I can never remember whether he spells his last name C-O-R-D-I-E-R-O or E-I-R-O. So I'm just going to put in the first couple of letters of his last name and click Search. And here he is. So it is David, and it is EI instead of IE. So this is the right person. I can see that he's in the CityBiz chapter and his company and his profession. And I can select him. So it says, are you sure you want to select this person? I can say, OK. And now I'll see that the thank you here is going to David Cordero. I can go ahead and put in the thank you amount. Let's say this was for $1,000. And it was an outside referral. And this was a referral to, I'm going to put Bob Jones, who purchased a new laptop. All right, and I can click Save and New if I have more that I'd like to submit, or I can just go ahead and click Submit, which I'm going to do now. Now, as you're submitting slips in BNI Connect, what they're doing is they're going into the POMS report for this upcoming week's meeting. So I happen to meet on Thursdays. I am a member here in Rhode Island. I've been a member for about almost 12 years now. All of these slips will not change these numbers quite yet. The VP still needs to, on a weekly basis, review all of the information in the POMS report, enter any paper statistics that were passed in at the meeting for people that aren't submitting slips online. Once they submit it, these numbers at the top will change, but not until after the meeting. Now, if I want to make sure that those slips were submitted successfully, I can do that by clicking on the Review My Thank You for Closed Business Slips. If I click on this, by default, it's going to show me the last 6 months of activity, but I can change this if I'd like to. So I can change this. Maybe I want to go back to February of last year and click Go. This will go through and find all of the slips that I've entered online through BNI Connect. And I can see here at the bottom, here's the slip I just entered for David Cordero, and here's the slip that I entered for Elizabeth Berman. Now, one of the great things about this is that, let's say that a couple of weeks goes by or a couple of months go by, or Elizabeth wasn't at the meeting to hear me announce that I had turned in a thank you for closed business for $250. Now, I'm sure this has never happened to you in your meeting, but this time goes by and Elizabeth comes back to me and she says, let's say it's 4 months from now. She says, by the way, did you ever turn in that thank you for closed business for me? I don't remember hearing about it and wasn't sure if it got turned in. With paper slips, you kind of just have to go by memory as to whether or not you ever turned that in. With the online slips, you can go back and view whether or not you did this. So I can go back and say, oh yeah, you know what? On the 8th of January, I did submit that, and by the way, that was for the Chamber Computer Support. Great way to follow up on that. Now, with all of the slips, you can also go in and let's say that I made a mistake on this slip. And this slip for Elizabeth Berman, this wasn't for $250. It was supposed to be for $2,500. I forgot to put a 0 in there. As long as the Vice President hasn't submitted this yet, I can go in and edit it. So I can see here that this is still in draft mode, so I can still edit it. At the top of the form here, I can click on Edit, Delete Slips. So if I click that, that's going to open up a new window here. And these are all the slips that are still in draft mode that I can go ahead and edit. So I see the slip here for Elizabeth Berman for Thank You for Closed Business that I entered today. And let's say I need to correct that. I can click on Edit, add my 0, and click Submit. And now this has been corrected to $2,500 instead of $250. I can now close this tab. And if I go back in to review my Thank You for Closed Business slips, let me change that. Oh, I closed my window. Hold on a second. I was going in our test system here. That's why it's not showing up. In my test system here, I go back, and here is the slip for Elizabeth Berman. to $2,500. All right, now the rest of the slips are very similar. So let's say we have a referral slip. I need to submit a referral. Let's say that I have a referral for Greg Rosso. He's the carpet cleaner in my chapter. And this referral is to the local Dunkin' Donuts. They get a lot of coffee spills. Oops, it would help if I typed it correctly. It's an outside referral. I gave them his card. The address is on Main Street. The telephone number, the email address, and any comments about this referral. So I can put in, they get a lot of coffee spills and need regular cleaning of the carpets. I'm going to rate this a 4 on the temperature scale and click Submit or Save and New. And of course, if you have a cross-chapter referral, click on Search Cross-Chapter. Now again, I'd just like to repeat that you can only pass referrals right now to other members within your region. So I happen to be in the Rhode Island and Cape Cod region. I can pass referrals to other people within Rhode Island and Cape Cod. However, I can't pass referrals to people in California or Connecticut or Ohio or Spain or Europe or any of the other places around the world. That's something that is coming in a future version, but right now it can only be done within your region. All right, and again, if I want to review my referral slips, I can click on Review My Referral Slips, choose a date range, and click Go. And here I can see the referral that I submitted to Gregory Rosso and all the details of this referral. Now, the other great thing about giving referrals online through BNI Connect, not just the ability to go back and review the referrals that you've given, but the person that receives the referral gets a notification about that referral immediately. In this case, Greg Rosso would have gotten an email as soon as I click Submit. They usually get it within about 10 to 15 seconds. And it gives them all the details of the referral. So here's a referral that I actually received just a couple of weeks ago, just before Christmas. I can see that this one was a referral from Matt Walsh in my chapter. I can see that it was rated a 5 on the referral scale. I can see who the referral was, what the phone number was, what the email is, so I can start following up on this referral right away. Here's also the comments about the referral. And what's even better is if I wanted to call Matt Walsh to follow up on this referral and maybe get some more information about it or talk about the referral, his information is in this email as well. So I have his phone number and his email address. Most of us nowadays receive our emails on our phones. So this means that I can just, usually if I'm getting this on my phone, I can just click this phone number within the email on my phone and it will start dialing right away. Or I could click on the email address and it would start a new email right away. So this really does help to shorten the referral time. People can jump right on this referral in order to respond to it. One-to-one slips, same way. Submit a one-to-one slip. I can choose a member from my chapter, or if it's available in your region, you can search for other members. So let's say I did a one-to-one with Mike Paolino. He's the financial advisor in my chapter. The location that we met at Starbucks. We talked about new opportunities for referring to one another, and the date that we had the one-to-one, and we had this one-to-one on Monday. Again, I can choose Save and New or Submit. And of course, I can click on Review My One-to-One Slips and see that this one-to-one has been entered into the list. One of the great things about the one-to-ones especially, a couple of things. One, only one person of the one-to-one pair needs to enter that into BNI Connect. So this one-to-one will appear both in my one-to-one report as well as in Michael's one-to-one report. The Vice President also, this has already been entered, and I'll get the credit for the one-to-one as well as Michael gets the credit for this one-to-one in our POMs for this coming week. From a member level, there's an added benefit to this, and that is that, as we all know, one of the driving forces to be able to both give and receive referrals from other members within the chapter is by doing one-to-ones with them in order to find out more information about them. Now, I'm sure this has never happened to you, but maybe you're sitting in your chapter meeting and you look across the room at another member and you say, you know, Carl and I used to be really great referral partners. We used to pass a lot of business back and forth, but it seems that lately we haven't been passing a lot of referrals. One thing you can do is look back at your one-to-one report. I can see that I haven't done a referral with Carl since the 16th of August. Yeah, it's probably a long time to go without doing a one-to-one with a referral partner that I used to pass a lot of business with. So I might want to use this report to strategize who I should be doing my next one-to-one with. Our final type of slip is the CEU slip. And the CEU slip, just you can go through and enter in all of the different learning opportunities that you participated in that week. Now, all you need to do is put the quantity in. It will do the calculation for you for total number of credits. So you guys all attended this webinar today. You may want to put in a CEU slip with a 1 for a BNI webinar. And let's say that I also went to one member success program this week, and I finally finished that book that I was reading by Dr. Meisner, and I went to 2 other workshops. So you can see it did all the calculations. It did automatically calculate that out to 10 for me. I can click Submit. And now my CEU slip has been entered for me. And if I click on Review My CEU Slips, I can see the CEUs as they were entered. All right, so now how about referrals that you received? Now let's say that you never received that email. It went into the spam folder, or you deleted it, but you need to go back and review the information. Or you want to track the status of the referrals that you've received. Well, there is a received referrals report as well. So if I click on the received referrals, I can see referrals that other people have referred to me in BNI Connect. So this is a list of different referrals. I can go back, I can review the phone numbers or get their email addresses. I can see who referred me that information, the interest level. And there's also some other tracking information on here. When I contacted them, when I met with them, when I followed up with them, whether it resulted in thank you for closed business or a spin-off referral. You can track this information through BNI Connect. And the way to do that is by clicking on my Track Your Referrals Received Online link. Now you can choose a date range. By default, it's going to show you the last 1 month of referrals that you received. This is my test system, so I may have to go back a little bit further. And here's a couple of referrals that I received. So here's one from, the referral was Greg Madsen, and this one is still in a new status. Well, I can go in and edit this referral. If I need to change any of the information on here, I can, or even add additional information. Maybe I found out from Greg at gregmadsen.com. I can see who it was referred by. I can change the status. So let's say that this one is now closed. I had actually contacted them on that same day. I met with them 2 days later. Let me go back and update that. So I met with them on the 16th. I followed up again with them towards the end of the month. And I can put in, if I wanted to, the thank you for closed business amount on this. I could change how hot it was and click submit. Now if I go back, I can see in my received referrals report that this information has now been updated. Now, because I updated the status is something that's also shared with your referral partner. So if the person that gave that referral to me went into their review my referral slips report, they would see the tracking sheet status change from new or open to closed. So this is another way that BNI Connect can help with the referral process by closing that loop. Now, a lot of people ask, well, if we're doing this all online, what are we supposed to do at the meeting? Well, at the meeting, we absolutely 100% want to still celebrate all of this activity. We absolutely want to talk about it at every single weekly meeting. The referral and testimonial point of the meeting should still happen just as it always has done in all of your BNI meetings that you've ever been to. There is an ability to print your weekly slips. So if I choose to print my weekly slips, I will get a list of my activity for that week. Now the slips are going to print bigger so that you can actually cut them out with a pair of scissors if you'd like to, and be able to drop them into the basket or turn them into your vice president so that you can be included for the door prize. The rest of the information is not in a slip format so much as it is just listed. You still want to announce all of this information at the meeting. You want to stand up and say, I had a referral for Elizabeth Berman. The referral was George Costanza. I had a referral for Greg Rosso, Dunkin' Donuts. I had a thank you for closed business to Elizabeth for $2,500 and Dave Cordero for $1,000. I had a one-to-one with Mike Paolino, and I had 18 CEUs this week. Definitely want to participate in this part of the meeting, and this is one way that you can do this. Now, if you forget to print this out, or you ran out of ink in your printer, or you simply don't want to use your own paper to do it, that is perfectly okay. There's no need to fill in these particular slips. You can still announce the information, but you don't necessarily need to fill in an actual piece of paper for thank you for closed business, one-to-ones, or CEUs. That information is already in the POMS report. For referrals, if you'd like to be included for the door prize, our suggestion is if you didn't print this report out, just take a regular referral slip and fill it out like you normally would. The difference is you may want to put a big X right through the middle of that referral. Something to make it obvious to your vice president to say, I already entered this online. Please don't double count this in BNI Connect or in the POMS report. So let me just show you real quick what this looks like for a vice president. So if I'm the vice president of my chapter, what I would do is I'd go in to enter the weekly POMS report. So I go to Operations, Chapter, Meeting Management. I would go to Enter POMS, and I would be entering the meeting, this week's meeting. Now what I can see when I do this is that, hold on, I got to pick the right chapter first. Apologies. What I can see here is that there's already been information entered into this POMS report. So here's the referral received to Elizabeth Berman. Here's the thank you for closed business that I input for Elizabeth Berman. Here's a referral received for Brian Fish. Here's the referral received for Greg Rosso. My referrals given, the one-to-one that I had, and the CEUs that I entered. This makes the vice president's job a lot easier. Now, for any vice presidents that might be on the line, if you're curious what was entered automatically for you in the POMS report, we have the SLIPS audit report. Now, if you click on this, this will show you all of the activity for that week that was already entered. So we can see the slip type, the amount, what was entered. The only thing that we won't see is that the thank you for closed business does remain anonymous. It's fairly obviously that I input this slip this week since I'm the only one in the test system that's entering slips. But normally you wouldn't be able to tell who entered the thank you for closed business slip. It also doesn't show the comments of the thank you for closed business slip. As I said, that is private only to the person that's entering the slip. Now for visitors, visitor hosts, please know that when you enter a visitor into BNI Connect, that also pre-populates the POMS report. And those will also show up in the SLIPS audit report. All right, so we're getting at the bottom of the hour. I usually try to keep these to about 30 minutes worth of content for those people that need to get back to work and get on to other things during the day. That being said, I would like to open it up for questions. So anybody that does need to leave, I do want to thank you for being here today. We will be recording all of the webinar. So if you need to go back to review the questions, you'll be able to do that as well. But again, I'd like to open this up for questions. Anybody with any questions, please put them in now. All right, we do have a question from Raymond. Raymond says, will there be an app version for iPhone? That's something that's still in the works. One of the challenges that we have with apps and BNI Connect, right now BNI Connect is a closed system. So in order to enable apps, especially for functions like submitting slips, means that an API has to be created, which kind of opens it up to a whole different world of data access. So that's the first thing that has to be done. The second thing is that designing apps is it's a long and expensive process, not just for iPhones, but also for Androids, for BlackBerries, for Microsoft phones, not just the phones, but the other versions as well, the 7-inch tablets, the 10-inch tablets. On top of that, BNI Connect is in just about every populated country around the world, and it is translated in about 40 different languages. So there is still a bit of work that needs to be done before an app is developed. That being said, there are a couple of apps that are in beta testing right now, and we'll see how those go. So I hope that answers your question, Raymond. Judine says, thank you. I appreciate this information a lot. Have a great day. Well, thank you, and I hope you have a great day as well. All right. Does anybody else have any questions about the slips, how they work, or what they do, or anything else about online slips, or for that matter, anything else in BNI Connect? I'm always happy to answer any questions. We provide support all day, every day, so I'm always happy to stay on these calls for as long as people have valid questions. All right, just a reminder that this is being, oh, hold on a second. Raymond says, verifying, does referral go to email? Yes, so when I submit a referral slip, the recipient of that referral immediately gets an email with all of those details. It should go out pretty much within 5 to 10 seconds of you submitting that email, so it does go out right away. Now, one thing also is if you do change, so if I go in to review my referral slips and I need to edit a slip, so let's say that this one I put in for Greg Rosso is incorrect and it really was supposed to go to somebody else, I can go in, I can edit this slip and change who the recipient was. So let's say this one really needed to go to Frank. I can change that and click Submit. Now Frank will, as the new referral receiver, Frank will get an email with the referral details. However, I do need to contact Greg Rosso to say, Greg, I'm sorry, I put you in as the wrong person for the referral. It was meant for Frank. Many apologies. So there's not an automated email that goes out to the former recipient of the referral. So does that make sense, Raymond? Cool. All right. While anybody's thinking up any last questions, just a reminder, this is being recorded. It will be at youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. I would also love it if you could give us a like on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. This is our Facebook page. We do tons of announcements and reminders and reminders about webinars and tips and tricks and notifications about upgrades and all sorts of things here as well. So please do go up to BNI Connect and give us a like. All right, we do have a couple more questions that have come in. Steve says, this may be a question for our director, but what can we do to emphasize the importance of BNI Connect to all of the members in our chapter? I noticed we aren't very active on BNI Connect as a group. For example, the importance of testimonials. I would definitely work with your director on that to get ideas. It might be training that's needed in your area. I mean, please do direct people to these webinars. We do webinars on a ton of different topics. So I think really getting the why out there. Why is BNI Connect important? When it comes to the online slips, the online slips are a direct benefit to your membership. And it really allows you to become a better member by tracking this information. Some of the other things, if you go to SuccessNet, BNISuccessNet.com, we're getting testimonials on a daily basis about people that have made international connections and even connections just in the next state over or in the next town over because people found each other in BNI Connect. Now, will you get a cross-region or a cross-global referral just by being more active in BNI Connect? Not necessarily, but you definitely won't get one if you're not active. So it's kind of like the lottery. You can't win if you don't play. There's also the discussion groups and, just the visibility of having a complete profile. So I think there's a lot of great benefits to becoming active in BNI Connect. But definitely talk with your director. Maybe strategize within your region how you can get the word out there more. Does that help, Steve? Colleen says, but does the POMS report change to delete the wrong submittal? Yes, the POMS report is updated with the new information. So basically that referral received would be taken from Greg Rosso in that case and given to Frank Karpowitz in that particular POMS report. And that's the reason why, if you look at any of these Review My Slips reports, the only ones that we can change are the ones where the POM status is in draft, which means that the vice president hasn't yet submitted the report. Once the vice president has submitted the weekly report, we can no longer edit that. The vice president would have to unlock that report. So I couldn't go back and change one from, let's say, 3 months ago necessarily. That one would have become permanent in the system. Does that make sense, Colleen? Bob says, can you let me know where the individual stoplights are? The member level traffic lights right now are done manually by a lot of places. It is not an officially recognized program in BNI Connect. It's something that we do hope to have in the system someday, but it still needs to be designed and programmed. There are chapter-level traffic lights, and there's also region-level traffic lights for directors and things like that, but right now it only goes down to the chapter traffic lights. That being said, if your region is doing the individual member-level traffic lights, one place that you might find them is in the documents. For example, my region here in Rhode Island, we do traffic lights. We do the member-level traffic lights, but it's done manually on an Excel spreadsheet. Now, our region uploads that into the documents section. So if I go to my network I can see the documents section here, and I can see all the documents that my region has uploaded into BNI Connect. So if I'm looking for the member traffic lights, I can just type in, let's say, traffic here into the little search box. And I can see here's my traffic lights from February through July and all the previous traffic lights. So if I wanted to download those files, I can download them and use them. But again, that's a regional thing, so you would definitely need to talk to your director consultant or regional office about that one. Colleen, traffic lights is a scoring mechanism. Really, it's an activity report at different levels within BNI. So the member traffic lights, it's a point system that is based on number of referrals per week, number of absences per week, things like that. And the chapter traffic lights has to do with member growth and retention and other chapter level statistics. And it's based on a red, yellow, green type of system. So for more information, I would definitely talk to your regional office, your director consultant for your chapter, and talk to them about the traffic lights. They can go into more detail about that. So, all right, do we have any additional questions? So, Colleen, at the training on January 20th, that would be a great time to ask them about it. All right, if there's no additional questions, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. Just a reminder, our next webinar is going to be on Friday the 10th, and that's at the same time. It's actually at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern again. And we're going to be talking about visitors in BNI Connect. So what we're going to be talking about is the entire visitor process, from inviting visitors through BNI Connect to pre-registering for meetings, for what to do with them when they've showed up to the meeting, all the way through following up with visitors afterwards. So we're going to talk about the entire visitor process in BNI Connect. I'd invite you to join us. Again, thanks again. Please like us on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Webinar will be uploaded to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, BNI Connect on Twitter, support@bniconnect.com, and support.bniconnect.com. Look forward to seeing you all on a future webinar. Happy connecting, everyone.